Maine Democrat Jordan Wood has jumped into the race to replace Platner, and he joins us now. So, Jordan, you ran for the Senate, you dropped out, then you ran for the House and finished third. So let me just ask you, with that as a backdrop, why you now?
Well, we're coming out of a primary here with a number of candidates that received over 20,000 votes in the primary. And I think all of them should be considered. And we need an open and transparent process so that the voters have trust that the nominee coming out of that is one that they support, that they know is representing our values, our priorities, the change people want to see in Washington, but also is the best candidate to be Susan Collins. And I believe I am that candidate.
Do you have any regrets about backing Platner?
Well, you played the clip from Margaret Chase Smith, a hero of mine, and she reminds us what courage looks like. The slogan of our campaign has always been "Maine needs courage, not concern," and she informs that a lot. Last October, I had called on Graham Platner to leave this race because I knew he had lied to us about several things around the Reddit posts and his tattoo. I was forced out of that race because of that decision. And I think it's a reminder courage is not easily seen when you are speaking against your enemies or the opposing party. It is only seen when you are talking to your own side. And that's what sacrifice looks like. I think it's a moment that we need more leaders that are sacrificing and giving up power or whatever position they have for the people and for our democracy.
And Jordan, what is your reaction to what Caitlin Huey-Burns just reported, which is Graham Platner does not intend to officially, meaning sign the necessary documents until Monday to get out of this race?
Disappointing isn't enough. I think that it is so important that, he should have dropped out on Monday and let this process unfold. The way that he and some of his advisors are trying to control the process and pick a nominee is exactly the wrong thing to do, to have the public and voters who are deeply betrayed and hurt by Graham right now. They are the ones in control of our elections, of our democracy, and who is moving forward. We've got to all coalesce behind that candidate.
And you mentioned the process. Jordan, do you understand what the process is actually going to be? And if you are not successful, will you campaign with the nominee?
Absolutely. I think this is all about making sure we have the strongest candidate to take on Susan Collins. In terms of the process, as I understand it, Maine has 16 counties. We have very well organized, great county parties. I've had town halls in all of these counties in the past year, and we'll select 500 delegates and some alternates that will have a convention and vote on the candidates that have put themselves forward and collected the signatures to be considered. I think what we need to see from candidates, this is my strategy, is that there needs to be a campaign, yes, directly for these delegates, but more broadly to the public, because we are just firmly committed to democracy in our state. It's bipartisan, and the people that are going to go to the convention, wherever it is, are going to be there to represent their communities, their families, their friends, their counties, and are going to take very seriously what that responsibility is. And they'll be hearing from their neighbors. So it is, yes, a campaign on this smaller group of people, but really broadly a campaign across the state, so that the public feels like we are making the right decision and that they're having their voices heard by these delegates.
And Jordan, for my audience's benefit, just explain what you're personally going to do. Are you going to be driving all around the great state of Maine? How do you reach people when you have so little time to try to make your case?
Yeah, I'm starting town halls on Monday. I mentioned we've had 40 of them in the past year. I think that's where we start, but also on our campaign has over 200,000 followers across social media platforms. That has been a great way for us to engage voters of all ages, and we'll continue to do that, communicating directly to the people and making sure that they know that this is their decision. This is not Chuck Schumer's or Graham Platner's, the DNC or the DSCC. This is what the Maine people need to decide, and they need to hear from all of these candidates. I just as an example, I'm the only candidate right now being considered that even has a real website that voters can go see what their positions are, and what their policy priorities will be, and where they stand on all these issues. Those are the things that we need candidates to do very quickly if they are stepping forward and putting themselves up for consideration.
One last question, Jordan. There are, as I mentioned, 7 announced candidates. How do you differentiate from the other 6 quickly?
I'm the only candidate to be considered that actually has worked in Congress. I was the chief of staff. I think that matters going up against Susan Collins. I was also born and raised right here in Lewiston. I'm raising my family in Lewiston, Auburn. I'm a millennial. I was in 2nd grade when Susan Collins was first elected. I think that contrast is matter and is fundamentally important to beating Susan Collins. And so I would not put myself up for consideration if I didn't think, one, that it was the best candidate to do it, but also the right contrast.
Jordan Wood, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.